Rhett Palmer.
The mayor of the airwaves is ready to go. Talking to people you want to know.
Face to face.
One-on-one. Get the story and have some fun
With Rhett Palmer.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
All right, Ukraine's president appoints new top military commander. This past week, President Zelensky replaced his commander-in-chief of the armed forces, General Valzuski. What is it? Voluski replaced his commander-in-chief, armed forces, yeah. And so he said this was just a normal rotation after almost 2 years, but Ukraine's 23 spring offensive bogged down into trench warfare and disappointed many Western backers of Ukraine's fight against Russian invaders. Is Zelensky's change of military leadership really needed? Boy, we got a lot to talk about. Did you see what's his name's interview with Putin?
Tucker Carlson's. No, I didn't. But
that's the biggest news in the whole world above everything.
No, it's not. This is a disappointment. I didn't need to see it to know what it was, and this is what I call a Putin apology tour. And to me, it's a disgrace for.
But you can't really comment on it if you haven't seen it.
Yes, I can.
No,
I
can.
can. I can say that the very principle of doing an interview with Vladimir Putin.
We're supposed to have a free press.
Yeah, let me say this.
Why not let him speak his mind?
By the way, introduce me. Who am I speaking?
Who are you? Former U.S. diplomat David Hunter, problem child of the universe. And could you please fix my thing here? It's like I've got all the space above my head. It's like...
Okay. All right, let me make a point about...
Everybody, he looks like a normal... Look how high you are. And it looks like he's looking down at me. And Noah will go, it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
it doesn't matter to Noah. He doesn't care, which is cool. Which is cool that he's that way in a way.
Yeah, the people that are
but
under...
it does matter.
People that are under 30 don't have that same problem, Rhett. You know
what?
What you have, this image problem.
This image from.
Yeah.
And we have Gary Osler. He's a guy who's hitchhiking from Miami up to New Hampshire and just stopped in.
Yeah. Anybody's had it up, you know.
And he showed me a beautiful picture of him side by side with Nikki Haley, which I think is great. I think it's
you get to meet Nikki Haley?
You saw that. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
No, never saw it.
Yeah.
No, when did you get that?
And that's not a cardboard photo.
Oh, you went to see her, huh?
Yeah,
that's not a cardboard.
I did.
Photo.
Yeah, you never sent that to me. I'm surprised you didn't send it to me.
Yeah.
Did you send it to Barbara?
I don't know. I'll check. But anyway, you're seeing it.
Well, anyway, we're drifting off topic. You asked me the question about the Russian Ukrainian military commander.
Yeah.
But you also asked me about Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And
well, you can't really comment on it because you didn't see it.
My comment is that if you see Putin's lips moving, you know he's lying. Okay, and this guy has killed.
So in other words, we just close our ears to hear this guy. Well,
he has invaded. He has invaded other countries. He has murdered his opponents. He's locked up.
I'm glad that you love all our politicians so much, and you think they don't lie.
Excuse me. They have not been sending. Our politicians have not been sending people to Siberian prisons, and we have not had our politicians assassinating political opponents using nerve gas and poison pills. So. This is not a good guy. Vladimir Putin is an evil man, Rhett.
Well, wait a second. George Bush said, I've looked into Putin's eyes and I saw...
Yeah, and George Bush was a fool to say that. And he's regretted it ever since. He realizes...
How do you know?
Well, he's...
Let's get him on the line and check him out.
Yeah, let's get him on the line. Fine, good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to...
I know his daughter. She was on my show. We could call her. Dora?
Yeah, I actually had somebody ask me the other day, wouldn't it be a good idea if the U.S. tried to get into some negotiations with Putin about ending the Ukraine war?
Hey, Siri, send a text to Dora Bush.
Okay. Anyway, let's stay on.
It is. Dora Bush got right here. Oh, cancel.
Okay. So my point is, negotiating with Putin, even over the Ukraine war, it's not possible. He is not a person that can be relied on. If you make an agreement, he will break it. He said before the invasion of 2022, of February, by the way, we're almost 2 years out
2 years. Yeah.
from the anniversary is coming up on the 24th of February, which is right around the corner. And that's the 2-year anniversary of the invasion. He had all these troops over there, and he said, I have no intention of invading.
I know.
You
It would have
remember
been
that?
better, though, if you'd seen it, because I wanted
Yeah.
to talk about his eye movement, too. Like, I don't know if it was just me. Like, once in a while, he'd be talking, and then he'd go, like, his eyes would kind of Google out. And I
Yeah.
thought that's the only thing I thought was a little strange, you know? And
Right.
I've seen that, you know, I'm trying to get my subconscious. Where have you seen that look before? I don't
Yeah.
know, you know?
Yeah, in the mirror.
You can leave now.
Hey, you walked right into that one.
Hey,
walk-
don't forget, you got that poison for a second cup. Okay.
Okay. All right. So enough on Putin for the moment. We're going to get around to him again.
I'm shocked you didn't at least see
Yeah,
it.
we're going to get around to that.
But don't you think we should be in communication with all these people?
I
We're
thought
just
you
supposed
didn't
to-
watch Fox.
I didn't watch Fox. He's not on Fox. Tucker got canned from Fox.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because he's the only one telling the truth over
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's the truth speaker.
I wonder why they did fire him. Boy, that was a big stupid mistake.
Money over the Dominion lawsuit and needs to cut off, and he's one of the highest paid talents they had.
Yeah, like what,
Yeah.
36 million a year or something.
All right. Yeah, they were saving money by getting rid of
I
it.
just want to work there 1 year.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 36 million, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Except for a few circumstances, there go I. You know?
That's right. Okay, you asked the question, which is a very interesting one, about Ukraine changing its military commander.
Yeah.
And
what's
This
going
this
on
is this is a pretty significant. In fact, it's considered one of the most significant moves since the war started.
there? Yeah. Why?
Well, he's the commander in chief of the military. The guy that was replaced, this Zaluzhny, was replaced. It appears that Zelensky, that's the president,
Zelensky.
he was disappointed with the spring offensive the spring of 2023.
Yeah.
It didn't result in the kind of large-scale movement that they thought they would achieve. Now, part of that is because the Russians had had time to dig in, build defensive fortifications, and do a lot of mining. And therefore, you couldn't get across this area. It's like World War I. It was heavily mined, and troops were being slaughtered as they tried to move across and push across the defensive lines. So you've got a different kind of war going on, and that was one of the reasons why it was lack of success. The other, of course, was lack of long-term missiles and aircraft. The Ukrainians don't have those, and long-distance missiles can attack behind the deep lines and destroy the support bases for those Russian forward troops that are.
Is the war over if we don't give him that extra, $60 billion or whatever?
Okay, it's a good question, and let me go on with this, but keep that question in mind because that's valid.
Hey, keep that question. Okay.
That's a valid question for this whole topic that we're on. But let's stay first on the question of command change, the leadership change. So. Anyway, Zelensky was unhappy with this lack of progress, even though there's a logical explanation for it: lack of ammunition, lack of rockets, and the Russians digging in deep trench warfare. He also, this guy Zelensky, only recently said that he was asking for. Yeah, you've got Zelensky and Zelensky.
Zelensky and Zelensky.
Zelensky.
Sounds like a comedy team.
Zelensky, yeah.
Is it true that the president used to be a comedian?
Yes, he was. He was. The Ukrainian president was a comedian. That comedians are pretty smart people. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More people need to know that.
Yeah.
They are real artists.
They are, and
They see stuff the rest of us don't.
Right. Well, anyway,
marvel at their intellect.
so his commanding general was asking for a draft emergency mass mobilization of another 500,000 Ukrainian troops. He said we need that to replace the ones we've lost. They probably lost somewhere close to 200,000. These are classified numbers. They don't tell how many people are lost, but it's estimated Russia's certainly lost more than 200,000 troops in this war, 2 years of war.
Yeah.
So he's saying we need more troops, and he's also saying the reason with the current resources that we have, if we don't get that extra $50 billion from the U.S. of military equipment, and we don't get more from Europe military equipment, we don't have the military resources to do anything but have a stalemate here. And that's what he said. And obviously Zelensky doesn't like that. So he said, we need a more optimistic outlook, and I'm going to replace you. So by his speaking the truth, probably speaking the truth, that they don't have enough arms to defeat the Russians, therefore the best they can do is do a stalemate. Zelensky decided, I want somebody who's going to be more upbeat and optimistic.
Someone who's going to tickle my ears.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want to hear.
Tell me what I want to hear. Yeah, that's sort of it.
Yes, men.
And that may have been partly because...
Isn't that what Donald Trump is used to, and that's why in the business world?
Okay, let's leave Trump out of it for the moment. I'm going to bring him in later.
Where is he? Is he in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
a guy was in here the other day who was just with Trump.
well, he was
he
in
was-
Fort Pierce. Yeah, Trump was in Fort Pierce at a court case 2 days ago.
That was Fort Pierce?
That was Fort
Well, this
Pierce,
guy
yeah.
was in here. He's a
Yeah.
economist, and he was the speaker at the Republican Club, the
Okay.
luncheon, and then he went over for their annual dinner.
Okay.
And then he came over here because he needed to call into Fox because
Okay.
they needed a studio.
Yeah. Well, they need to rename the party. They call it the GOP.
Yeah.
They need to call it the TOP.
What's that mean?
Well, instead of it being the grand old party, it's the Trump old party. It's basically been taken over. The whole party has been taken over. Ronna McDaniels, who is the chairwoman of the GOP, of the Republican Party, the GOP, she was removed.
What did Clinton say? We were. What did she call us? We're
Who?
desperados or something.
Who?
Hillary Clinton called anybody that's
Despicables. That was
despicables.
okay. I know that.
So what's that?
No, deplorable,
Oh,
despicable,
deplorable.
whatever. Okay, whatever.
So I'm a deplorable. She's got a lot of nerves telling 80% of the
despicable.
American public that
Yeah.
they're deplorables.
Yeah, all right. You're warming up cold beer there. That's
That's a good one. I never heard that.
Now, what does that
I
mean?
like that. I like that.
What does that mean?
that means it's been around for a long time. That you're dredging up stuff.
Warming up cold beer.
Yeah, you're dredging up skeletons
Well,
out
no,
of the
because
closet.
you're going to say that you need
No.
to change the name of the thing.
No,
instead
the
of
reality-
GOP, the TOP.
No, the reality.
Trump.
The reality is Trump has taken over the Republican Party. As of I mean, obviously Nikki Haley is contesting that, and I give her credit for what she's doing, and I hope that she's successful in.
I wonder
in-
why first of all, any
in
client in
South
history would
Carolina.
have already backed out by now.
Maybe-
She's not going to win. So why keep out? I mean, she's spending people's money.
All right, well-
Who's dumb enough to give her money
All
at
right.
this point?
Anyway, there's always surprise outcomes in politics. Nobody knows. You're talking about two old geezers that are running for president, Rhett. Pay attention, Rhett. You're already almost at 70. Is that right? Okay,
He is 70. Yeah.
Oh, I am
You are
70.
70. Okay, all right. These other
Don't
guys.
be talking down to me,
Okay,
boy.
these
That
other
looks like
guys.
Roger McGuinn just pulled up.
These other and you know what you're experiencing as you get older. These guys are already clipping up there at 80 or plus 80. Okay, and therefore you say, oh, why shouldn't Nikki Haley run? Well, one of these guys might not be around in November. Things happen. There was
Who might not be around?
either of the two candidates for president might not be around. You're talking about old people. Things happen to old people. They get old and things happen. I had a person who had a massive, I knew a person, not directly, but one of the guys that I played tennis with.
Yeah.
He was in his early 70s. He had a massive stroke and he died within one day. And he was healthy. He looked like he was
I know
out there.
somebody in their 50s just had a stroke and died.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, things happen. So you better have a backup plan. And I hope that
So you think Biden's going to bow out?
I hope that Biden, not Biden, but the Democratic Party has a backup plan for somebody other than.
Okay,
than-
but it's not,
than,
now, do you like Kamala?
No, that's why I'm saying they need a backup
who
for
would-
somebody.
Who out there do we really like? Well, there's Kennedy.
Well, he's not really a Democrat.
Like you're really not an
if you're
independent.
talking about this Joe Kennedy, he's not really a Democrat. Yeah.
Why?
And
Because he tells the truth?
I don't know. I'm not going to talk about Joe Kennedy. Let's get back to the topic on hand.
Okay, no, but I do want to know this. Let's
Yeah.
say it's an emergency. There's nobody else. We have to find one of these Democrats to be president.
Or one of these Republicans. Who's the
Well,
other
let's
Republican?
stick with the Democrats right now.
It makes you happier
Even
to
the
think about it.
Republicans. Who do we have out there?
Yeah.
Forget the Republicans. We already seen that.
No,
But let's go for the Democrats. Who out there would I really like? If I had to like somebody that's
Yeah.
on the left side, who would I like?
Right.
If anybody?
Yeah.
There's got to be some hidden gem.
Yeah.
Like this guy that's the
Well,
Speaker of the
who's-
House now.
Yeah.
I think he's a good man.
Johnson.
The guy who took over for the
Johnson, yeah.
I mean, he kind of slipped in through the crowd. I mean, even the Republicans didn't expect that. Where'd
Yeah.
he come from?
Yeah, I know. And that's the point. And remember,
Do you like him?
personally, he seems like a personable man. His politics I don't like, and especially the fact that he's likely to be obstructing this decision that has been passed by the Senate for
Well,
funding.
they did. They obstructed it last night.
For funding. No, that's the Mayorkas thing. No, they haven't obstructed
The money to Ukraine.
the Senate has just approved the money for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. It's a $90 billion package.
They said that got turned down yesterday.
Well, no, it's been sent to the House, and the House is the guy you're talking
I thought
about,
the
Mr.
House turned it
Johnson.
down, yeah.
No, Johnson is supposed to be meeting with Biden. He wants to meet with Biden before he makes a decision. Okay, that's the latest as of this morning.
So the guy who's the Speaker of the House has
Johnson.
it has the influence over the other Republicans, purportedly.
Well,
They got rid of the last guy because
he should have influence over the Republicans in terms
And
of
that's
whether
why
they would
he
vote.
has credibility?
Whether they would vote, yes, they would. And to be honest, if people want to think, not to be honest, to be frank, if people want to be
or Bill.
yeah, or Rhett, to be Rhett. If people want to be realistic about our national security,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things, foreign policy and national security is my area. All of those three topics of Taiwan, Israel, and Ukraine are.
I'd like to ask you one thing.
are-
You know how you said today, you said, oh, you're watching Fox. I don't watch Fox. I've never watched Fox.
You used to watch Fox
No,
all the time.
No. I may have watched Fox for a total of 1/2 hour in my entire life.
How did you know about Hannity and all his bad behavior then?
Oh, I tuned it. Okay, maybe I saw him for 4 minutes, 5 minutes here. I don't like politics. I mean, this is not a lie. I mean, let's say it's an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years has this been going? I don't listen
Okay.
to that stuff. I know Hannity's a big mouth. Combs and I were friends.
Yeah.
The liberal.
All right.
So anyway, the point is, no, I don't listen to that stuff.
Okay.
But here's what I want to know. You interrupted me. I want to know where are you just limiting yourself to like CNN and MSNBC, or do you look objectively to hear the opposing views, or do you close your mind? You're like, nobody should interview Putin. Nobody should read that. I'm
No,
never going to read.
No,
I'm never
that's
gonna read
that's
Fox or.
no, that's not. I don't do that. And,
Do you?
and
I mean, because
I
I'm
do.
trusting
I-
you that
Yeah.
we need somebody in this world
Right.
to be objective.
Well, you're right, and that's what we're. Hopefully, our show is all about: is trying to be objective, be
That's
fair.
what all these the former CIA director in here didn't want me having you in here. All these other guys, these extreme right.
Yeah.
I had you in here. I've always liked you because I
Yeah.
thought, oh, are you really a diplomat? That's
Right.
what I want to be. I think we need
Yeah.
diplomacy. I think we need gentility,
Right.
and I think we need dignity.
Yeah, and
but
we-
I think if you dignify me, though, I would be hoping, I'm trusting you
Yeah.
as an intellect, as an academic, that you're searching out because you come in
Right.
here, and I know you spend a lot of time alone, and
Yeah.
you're traveling the world on that internet, right?
Right. Well, I spend a lot of time with people too and talking with them, but
Just your liberal friends or the right
no,
friends
no,
too?
I don't define friends as liberal or as conservative. I define them as people.
Well, Gary and I, we have opposing views, but we've decided we don't talk politics with each other.
Yeah.
And
Well-
also, we forgive each other. Like I was a jerk last night about something. He didn't get real mad at me. I mean, I've done it before. He's been a jerk too, though, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
so we made a commitment, almost
Yeah.
like a brotherly commitment. Okay, that's totally wrong, but we made the commitment.
Well, that's-
and,
and
so I
see-
apologize, by the way.
And that's where I hope, if you're talking about politics and American
Yeah.
politics, the majority of the people are not on the wings, far right, far left. They're in the middle.
That's right.
That's where the
Really,
majority are.
It's really the
Yeah.
middle people that Gary claims he is, and
Yeah.
you claim you are,
Yeah.
that actually elect the next president, correct?
Well, the independents are going to elect the next president. It's a fact.
And you have a picture of you and Nikki. And
That's right.
So that means
so if Nikki gets in,
she's
he
leaning-
gets me an interview
so
with
she's,
Nikki.
he's an independent that's leaning towards a Republican, but not Trump. Okay, that's the point to remember.
That is true, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
I would vote today. I would vote for Nikki Haley.
Yeah. All right, but
Well,
anyway,
I was hopeful when she was working with the what is the place she went in New York City?
United Nations.
I thought, man, she should be president one day.
Well, she is a smart lady, and she's well versed on foreign policy.
But has she sold out to somebody? Because it doesn't make sense that she has the money to keep on
Yeah.
keeping on because there's no way she's going to be the
All right,
candidate.
let me
Unless-
get since
unless they kill
since we're
Trump.
since we're talking
Something like
Nikki
that.
since
I
we're
hope they don't
talking
do
Nikki
that.
Haley, let me leap
Bad people out there.
let me leap forward a little bit. We're going to get back to Ukraine because
Okay.
the Ukraine defense shift is important, and we want to understand that. My point in defending Ukraine, by the way, is that if we let Putin take Ukraine, it's just like Hitler taking Czechoslovakia.
And you think he's going to go and take Turkey?
Of
he's
course,
gonna go
no,
take
Poland. He'll take
first.
Poland.
But
he'll-
they broached that subject in
Yeah.
the interview. Now, I wish you'd watched it.
Yeah, no, well,
And he
I know,
said,
and
what
he said
do
he
I
would-
want with Poland?
He said I would only take Poland under one condition. Yeah.
Yeah,
something
oh,
like
you know that.
I know that.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
read a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
I did. Yeah. So anyway,
You didn't want
But-
to admit it.
but the reality is, do you believe anything that Putin tells you? I ask you that. Tell me the answer. Do you believe anything he tells you?
Do I honestly believe anything any politician,
No,
sad?
you're changing the subject. I'm talking about Putin.
I don't know.
Putin
I want to
is-
believe him.
Putin is a professional liar. He's KGB. Okay, they lie when they open their mouth. They deceive. That's their game plan. They've been trained that way since he was a young colonel over there in East
What
Germany.
I don't understand is, unless I'm exceedingly lazy, which I am, why do you? I mean, you got $80 billion. What does he have? $80 billion.
Yeah, why doesn't he retire? Yeah.
Get your girlfriend or whoever you have now and fly off somewhere and enjoy life.
And the point
You're
is,
gonna be dead soon.
Rhett, he's already 72 years old. Okay, he's
Ancient.
not. He's getting to be an old man. So
That's not old anymore.
no, but 72 it can be, and especially with the stresses and strains of being a head of state.
Yeah, if I was well enough to do now, I think I'd be in Italy.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right. Sounds like you'd be a Tuscany guy. I could see that. Yeah.
You would be in Italy temporarily until you wanted to come back here
And do the show.
and get a lot of attention.
You could probably do the show from Italy.
See.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I hope because you blind yourself thinking you're right. When I went I was so glad I did my show up in Vermont this summer. I can't understand how any man. Now I know why. Do you know the average man dies within 9 months after retirement? Because they sit there and they got nothing to do.
Yeah. Well, that's of course due to what I
I've been
call
playing golf every day. Yeah. When does
Well,
that come
you
up?
said it, so it must be true.
yeah.
What did I say?
About
this,
that-
This
that
fact
average man,
This
yeah.
fact that you just pulled out
The
of the air.
factoid, yeah.
No, the nine months.
All right.
Check it out.
Come on.
Okay. Okay. Let me get
But
back
you
to
work. You're different. You donate your services here and there. You're not standing still. He's not standing
All right.
still.
Let's get back to the topics. We have a serious show here. Okay.
Yes.
We're not talking about golf and old men.
But you know the things we are saying. It's all serious. Really.
Well, it is in the larger scale of things, but we're going to lose our audience if they just want to hear about old men playing golf.
We don't wanna go
There's
about
something called the sports channel. You can watch.
I don't watch the sports channel,
Yeah.
just like I don't watch Fox.
Okay, good. Okay.
All right,
you're-
let's let David speak.
Okay, so
Okay.
so anyway, the one of the more controversial things I was saying that Ukraine is Ukraine is like
He's shaking his head.
Czechoslovakia. Ukraine is like Czechoslovakia with Hitler. If
Yeah.
if Putin takes Ukraine, he is going to, just like Hitler, he's going to expand into the Baltic states and into Poland, and all of Europe is alarmed by that. Okay?
Estonia?
Estonia, you bet. Yeah.
I was in Estonia. I don't
Yeah.
want to mess with Estonia, man.
Yeah, actually, the Estonia, the president is a young woman, beautiful young woman, and she has just been issued an arrest warrant by Russia. As the prime minister of a country, she's been issued an arrest warrant, and you know what the arrest warrant is for? Because she's tearing down statues of Stalin and other old Russians that had been left there. You know, they put up in the Soviet Union days. They put up these things. She's saying, I don't know.
Stalin was a madman. They shouldn't have any statues up there.
The Russians,
That's
the
like-
Soviet Union put up all these statues
That's like
of
if
these.
you go to Germany, do you see statues of Hitler?
Well, that's the point. So,
But that's why when you come here, you should not see the flag, the Southern flag.
okay. Anyway,
Right?
Anyway, what I'm saying
You
is
think we
that
should allow the Southern flag?
Russia has
No.
declared this to be a defamation of history, and therefore it is a crime under the Russians. And therefore, if you are the leader of a foreign country and you in your foreign country don't want these old Soviet statues and you tear them down, you're committing a crime against
That's like
Russia.
me saying you left your beer glass out on the porch last night and you can't go drink beer on your porch anymore. Who the hell? I watched it on the video on the secret on your security camera.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this Russia to come in and say this?
Exactly.
It's ludicrous.
Well, that's why I'm telling you about
You know
this.
what it is?
Yeah.
That's putting fear in people.
This is you know, of course, Vladimir Putin himself has arrest warrants out for him with Interpol for his committing Vladimir Putin. He's got the International Court of Justice, not the International Criminal Court, found him guilty.
So if I were to talk to Putin, would he just look at me and kind of think this guy's an idiot
He'd probably shoot you in the forehead.
and go have a softball
And
day?
have a-
What I always wonder about is how does he eat every day?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to kill somebody with poison, right?
Right. Well, anyway, you've mentioned that before, that he wouldn't take a breath mint from you.
No, somebody else he wouldn't take a breath mint.
All right. The point here is that Ukraine is a vital security interest of the United States and of NATO. We are a member of NATO. NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's been around since 1945, and it's one of the major security support organizations that the West has. All right?
Hold on, keep
NATO.
talking.
Yeah.
Your check is on above my,
Yeah.
the visor in my car.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to mention something rather remarkable that happened in the last couple of days. Donald Trump started talking about NATO. And you know what he said about NATO?
Oh, I know.
I want you and the audience to hear this again. He said in a televised presentation, he said, oh, if some guy was a member of NATO, a country was a member of NATO, and I asked them, would you don't pay...
You don't pay your full share.
You don't pay your full
then
share.
Go ahead and do what you want to do with them until they pay.
He said,
It is
I would.
kinda weird.
He said, I would encourage. This is his exact words. I would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. I would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. This is regarding a NATO member country. Remember, this is one for all for one. That's the motto of NATO.
Yeah.
And what was the
But how
Three
come they
Musketeers?
don't? I think how come they don't pay their share though?
I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what Trump said. What Trump said.
I know you don't want to talk about that, but it's a weird thing to say. But then again, he's giving. You know what it did? He's getting you to talk about it.
No, he's getting me to talk about Trump. And Trump has essentially undermined NATO by what he's saying. In fact, you know what's going on right now in Europe?
What?
What's going on right now? There's been a meeting yesterday
Yeah.
between Mr. Tusk, who's the new president of Poland,
Okay.
and Mr. Macron, who is the president of France,
Yeah.
and the German Chancellor Scholz.
Yeah.
And they had a meeting after Trump's comment saying, we need to review European security, not we need to top up our funding so we meet the NATO goals, but we need to review our European security because if Mr. Trump gets elected, we're not safe. Any of us may be told by Trump if he feels that way one day, oh, I'm not going to support you, even though he's committed as a member of the alliance to come to the defense of anyone that is attacked by a foreigner.
Let me ask you this: wouldn't he have more guile than to say this? So he knew exactly what it was going to do, didn't he? We're all chirping about it, wondering what the heck.
No, this is not chirping. And I'm not talking about chirping. I'm talking about protesting, and I'm talking about thinking about your vote, Rhett. Maybe you want to think about your vote, because if this is the kind of responsibility that this man has towards our foreign commitments, and this is the most extreme threat to our security. If we destroy NATO, the United States cannot sit here and live behind in a bunker and abandon our allies. We are safe because of our allies, not by ourselves. We, as a country, by ourselves, really are not safe.
Okay, so let's just pretend for a second that he's right about what they need to pay more money. Do they?
That's an arbitrary.
No, it's not arbitrary. I want to know. Do
Rhett,
you think they need to pay more money? Why do we spend all our money?
Rhett, okay.
And our vets are living out in the street.
Okay, I will talk a little bit more about how we're spending our money later on, okay? But what I want to point out is that if you have a promise, if you make a promise and you make a commitment for a defensive alliance, You don't sit there and say, well, I might do it and I might not. It depends on how I feel today. Now you're saying, oh, they are not meeting their commitment. Well, the 2% is not necessarily carved in stone. Okay, 2% was something somebody pulled out of a hat and said, well, it sounds like a good number.
a
Would you answer,
recommendation.
do you think they milk the world milks the United States for all they can get from it? Yes.
You're answering a question and you didn't let me answer it. Okay? So you think,
I'm
obviously,
asking myself.
you obviously think the U.S.
What do you think of that? I don't like it.
You think
Hey,
the-
shut up. Okay. All right.
You think the U.S. is being taken advantage of. Okay? There are lots of other countries around the world that think the U.S. is taking advantage of them. And they're probably right.
We give more, though, than any nation
Rhett.
in history has ever given to the world.
Rhett, keep in mind, we are the national reserve currency of the world. The dollar is. We have all of the international organizations. Like
Should it be backed up with gold?
we have the.
Did Richard Nixon do us a disservice?
I'm not going to get into international finance.
Noah says yes.
I know, and that's
If Noah says it, it's right.
That's a rabbit hole. We're not talking about international finance. We can do it some other day, but that's a rabbit hole. But I'm trying to explain how the U.S. is a world power, and in some cases a world hegemon. Now,
What's that?
a hegemon comes from hegemony. Ask Siri, what is hegemony?
Hegemony?
Hegemony.
Hey, Siri, what does hegemony mean?
Hegemony means leadership or dominance, especially by one country or social group over others.
Okay, good.
And that's
Leadership
Why
or
didn't I
dominance.
learn that in Social 101?
Leadership or dominance by one group over others. That's what hegemony means.
Well, he says we're also bleeding out of our coffers for Ukraine's sake.
Okay, wrong. Anyway,
He
you don't.
wants you to shut up.
Noah he does not even have a coffer, so you shouldn't be talking about bleeding out of a coffer.
Let me tell you something. You got one bright young man in there.
Yeah.
What's that?
I have a decent sized savings account.
He has a
Savings account.
Right.
Savings account. You sound like an old timer.
Yeah, okay. Right.
The good thing about Noah is Noah is unflappable. In other words, like he doesn't. There's certain things he's a little different that he doesn't care. Like you can't. I don't think you can hurt your feelings, right, Noah? Not really.
Rhett has tried.
Well, no. One time I was really mad, and I have once
I
a year
know.
I get off the handle, and I was and he just calmly responded and said, "Well, this da 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 da," and I realized. Wow, this guy's unflappable. And that's what Jesus said, let it turn the other cheek. It's true.
Yeah.
A soft answer turns away wrath.
Right.
But
But he does have opinions, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he's
Okay, well, anyway, we're straying off topic. The main topic that I was making was NATO is a very important organization.
Yeah.
We need to support NATO. We are not being taken advantage of. We have other angles in the United States being the
if
most.
you were really, really smart and you were Trump, why would you? He's got to know what he did. You know.
I'm not going to try to psychoanalyze Donald Trump, okay?
But
You might as well.
But what did he mean? He said the Russians can.
He said the Russians can do whatever they want. He can say. He actually said they can do whatever the hell they want. That's what he said. He used a swear word, and he's talking about the Russians invading a NATO member if the NATO member doesn't pay up the full 2%. Okay.
Well, does that mean because they don't get protection because they haven't paid? Is that
Yeah,
that
that's
means?
what it is.
It's kind
Yeah.
of like the mafia.
Yeah.
Hey, you want your butcher shop protected?
Yeah. Anyway,
So
it's,
I want to hear what else David has to say, because a lot of these things that you're talking about have already been on the news and things. I want to hear some
have.
new information
yeah.
here.
Let's give some new
See, I
information.
don't watch
yeah.
the Fox News.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll leave the Trump thing behind, but I do want to
Yeah.
condemn Trump for having said that. I don't care why he said it. I'm saying what he said has had negative consequences about the commitment of the United States to confirm its support for NATO, the most important defense alliance we're in. Okay. Which protects us. So he's putting us in danger by weakening the NATO alliance. Donald Trump's comments are putting us all in danger.
Why? How are we in danger? What has
If
NATO,
NATO
what
falls
has NATO
apart-
done for us lately?
Okay, Rhett, that is the most naive.
What does
Question.
NATO do?
That's also the most naive question.
It is. That's it.
We're back to sixth grade here.
Yeah,
You know what is we've been.
It's okay, but
Rhett's
there's
been
a
on
lot
the-
of people like me.
Rhett's-
he already described how they work together to protect each other. Can we talk about something new, different new
yeah.
here?
And there is there is something called interoperability, which is the
Interoperability?
which is where
Operability.
NATO arms have standards made for the weapons that are made, so that one country can use the same arms as another country.
Yeah.
So when you get into the car, it's not like a foreign car that I don't know where the turn switch is and how to run it. You get into it, and they all have the same basic parts and the same basic operating systems. And that's a big part of making a combined military force more effective. Okay, that's a big part of it. So anyway, going back to the Ukraine situation of replacing the leader, there was a. I understand Zelensky in a way. He's kind of he doesn't want somebody that says we can't win and is blaming lack of arms and support. You fight with the army and with the weapons you have, and you try the best you can to beg and scrape for more. And that's what he's doing. And I give Zelensky a lot of credit. 2 years into the war, he's still in power. He still has support. He has support from the West. As I said last week, the Western Europeans, the EU, gave him a committed 50 billion.
So they already committed to that.
They've committed 50 billion euros.
How much are we supposed to commit?
Just
because they
recently,
commit-
right?
Just
That was
recently.
just recently.
Yeah, just recently. And the
So they're in.
They're in. They're
They
in
have
with
to
supporting
be.
him. Yes.
Are we
They're
in?
right next to
No,
them.
that's the problem. We are in a mess with this idiocy of Congress, where the Senate has passed this bill saying that they will.
Now, the Senate is Republican, though.
No, the Senate is Democrat.
Oh, I thought the Senate was still
No,
Republican.
the Senate is okay. You're a little late to the game here, Rhett. You
Yeah,
need to-
let David speak.
So anyway, the Senate is a Democratic Senate. Chuck Schumer, you've heard of him, okay? He's
Who I don't like.
Anyway, that's not the point. He's the guy that's the head of the Senate. And they have approved, in a bipartisan manner, with Republicans as well, this new bill for $90 billion, which includes money for Ukraine, money for Israel, and money for Taiwan. Okay? And now it has gone to the House, which is held by the Republicans, this guy, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
And Mr. Johnson is saying, well, it doesn't have any border security in it, and I'm not too happy about it. So the plan now is he's going to go talk to President Biden, and maybe they can work out something. Okay? And
Or is he meeting with him today?
I think so, yeah. And as I said before, you know, I understand Republicans' angst or anger over the border. There was
What do you think of that?
I think there was a fairly good deal that was proposed for all of the three,
That's now, though. You're being current. I'm
No,
saying
I'm-
in the past year, though.
no,
what do you think?
no, literally, a fairly good deal came out about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
which included border security.
Yeah. And Trump put an
And
X
Trump put an X on it. He said, I don't want it. And you know the reason why he didn't want it? Because he doesn't want a win for Biden
Right.
in the election year.
That was a political move.
It doesn't matter that it's going to help us on the border. He just wants to destroy. I don't want anything that Biden wants. If Biden wants it, I'm against it.
Well, never in the history,
Yeah.
certainly of the United States, have they ever come after a candidate from the opposing team the way they've come after Trump.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that a valid bill for border security was torpedoed because
Well,
Donald Trump didn't
Let's
want.
go back, though. Let's go back 9 months. What do you think of the way it's been handled with all these people coming in? In New York City, we spend $2 million a month to put them up at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. And
Well, see, okay, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
See, that's what David is saying, that they had a lot of things, changes that they were going to make at the border. I think all Americans agree right now that the border is a problem. And this bill had all kinds of the agents that were going to be hired and programs that were going to be implemented to improve what's happening at the border and eliminate and lower the number of people coming across the border. There were improvements
why
on
has
this.
Biden allowed this stuff for 4 years?
But
I
they
don't
were
understand.
improvements on the
Okay,
situation.
I understand. But
Yeah.
why, there's a hole in the roof. Why wasn't it fixed? you
We've
know?
had the hole in the roof for about the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the problem. And every president, Donald Trump included, as landlord, has not fixed the hole in the roof.
I think that actually the strongest one was Obama. He actually closed up the doors, didn't he?
Yeah, I
More
don't
than
know.
anybody?
I don't know.
Anyway.
the
You know what?
immigration.
Can you figure out this whole game? Because I can't.
Yeah, immigration is a domestic topic basically. It's not a foreign
it is.
policy
Okay,
topic.
yeah.
But
All right.
there are some foreign policy aspects to it, like the Venezuelans, a lot of those are coming over here. One of the reasons they're fleeing is because they're fleeing communism. The Chavez government is a communist government. Maduro is a communist government. And just like we had sympathy for people fleeing under Castro's regime, but we're not having sympathy for people fleeing under the dictatorship of this communist Venezuelan government. Now, that's a little odd. Why do you support Cubans coming away, fleeing communism, but you don't support Venezuelans fleeing communism if you're a Republican?
We throw around these terms like communism. Is there anybody though that if they are communists, it's only a name. They're not really. I mean, communism actually is a theory that if it worked and everybody really went by the game, it would work, right? But it's
Well-
you've got man involved, so you really have dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
Like with Castro, he bleeds the poor people. Well, he no longer, but bleeding the poor people of Cuba, right?
Yeah, but my point here is why would you open your doors to people fleeing from a communist Cuba and not open your doors to people fleeing a communist Venezuela?
No,
Okay,
I agree with you.
Yeah, there's so we have a lot of contradictions in our own
But we also
policy.
had some unsavory characters coming across the border.
A lot of Cubans were unsavory. Remember the Mariel boat lift?
I do,
Okay,
and they
so,
let them out of the mental hospitals and the prisons.
yes. Okay, so
Carter.
yeah. Well, that wasn't Carter. That was Cuba that was releasing them.
But Carter allowed them.
Well, Carter allowed Cubans to come into the country, not understanding that these were not the best Cubans, okay, so to speak. So I don't want to get off on that.
Because Carter's a good man.
All
I
right,
believe.
back
right?
to Ukraine and the change of staff. The person who was actually selected to become the next leader of the Ukrainian armed forces, ding, 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 is this guy, Oleksandr Zirsky. Now, Zirsky is a former...
You understand, he lived with the Ukrainians for 3 years, right?
Yeah. And Zirsky is actually a old USSR Russian artilleryman. He's not Ukrainian. He's Russian. His
How do we
family...
know he's not a spy?
Well, he grew up in Kharkiv. He went to high school in Kharkiv. His father was in the military, in the Russian military, and he grew up there. And then he.
So how do we know his allegiance isn't to Russia?
Well, that's of course one of the questions that everybody might have. Except that he was very strong in the defense of Kiev in the first days of the war. He was in charge of that campaign and helped defeat the Russians as they were trying to take over Kiev. So that's kind of evidence that he's on the side of the Ukrainians and not on the side of the Russians. Okay, I otherwise have some problems, and a lot of the Ukrainian troops have reservations about him, not because they think he's a double agent or a spy or siding with the Russians, but because he takes the old Soviet attitude of throw a bunch of troops at an enemy and just let the slaughter begin. Meat grinder, that's the Russian approach. We know that from Russia. We've heard about the story. He has the same approach. So a lot
Necessary idiots.
of the
That's what
Ukraine,
Stalin called the people, right?
yeah, but therefore a lot of the Ukrainians who are troops, they're all volunteers. They're patriots to defend their country, but they're not real fond of the idea of some general with the Soviet mentality saying, "Let's send you in as a meat grinder," you know. So there is some opposition to him there, and there was another person who could have been chosen. His name is Budanov, who is much younger. He's only 38 years old, but he's the head of military intelligence, and he was the one who developed asymmetric warfare tactics. He has been involved in this recent sea drone attack that sunk a. We talked about that last week or the week before. They sunk a major Russian warship, a corvette, not a car, a corvette, with 6 sea drones. That was his doing. And he, this Budanov, also was responsible for the bombing of the Kerch Bridge. That's the bridge that goes from Russia to Crimea that was built. He bombed that about a year ago. So he's a very intelligent guy, and he uses unusual warfare techniques. So he's bringing new ideas to the war fighting campaign. So we'll see what happens. This is a big change. I think the reason why Zelensky picked this older guy, Zirsky, is because, who's an artilleryman, is because he has close connections to NATO. And I think that he may think that this guy, Zirsky, may be able to help pull Ukraine into NATO. That's what Ukraine wants to do. They want to join NATO. That's their idea ultimately of being safe from Russia, is being a member of NATO. As I mentioned, NATO is the organization that Trump would like to destroy. He basically had said that, when he was president.
He didn't say that. He said he wanted them to pay everybody else to pay their fair.
When
due.
he was president, he also
he said that same thing then too about the people paying.
When he was president, he actually asked, "Why do we need NATO?" And what has NATO done for us lately, and all this kind of stuff. Which is not the right approach. This guy is naive at best, if that's his understanding of the situation. He needs to be educated and trained on what NATO is. He needs to go over there and visit NATO headquarters.
We know that Trump didn't know what he was doing when he first elected him. He's not a politician.
Yeah, but 4 years later, he should know.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
maybe, I guess. But, well, anyway.
All right,
we're
so-
going to take a break. Then
yeah,
we're
we'll
going to
take
come
a
back.
break.
What are we going to talk about when we come back?
Pakistan's elections are beyond ridiculous.
really?
Okay, beyond ridiculous.
Beyond ridiculous.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Hi, I'm a golf enthusiast, and I love
we
Big
managed to
Shots
cover
Golf
most of
on US
Yeah,
1.
I mean, it's
a
Next
little,
to Advanced Eye Care.
That's your
I was a
challenge.
Big
It's
Shots
not a-
recently and
it's
had
not a
great
linear
time
path,
playing a
you know.
virtual 18-hole golf course. Big Shots also serves really good food. The mini cheeseburgers are my favorite. I love the ice cream, too. For a fun time, bring your friends and family to Big Shots Golf on US 1.
The Minutemen answered the call during the American Revolution. Now, Minuteman Press answers the call with custom print and design services designed to promote your business like nobody's business. They lead the charge, but never overcharge for great design, print, and promotional materials. Minuteman Press in Vero Beach and now in Port St. Lucie. Ready to answer the call. Google Minuteman Press or visit pslminutemanpress.com.
They say you sleep a third of your life. So why is shopping for a mattress so important? There's a mattress store on every corner. But when you visit the Mattress Market Store, you'll find Steve and his family, in business for 35 years, waiting to help you find the best mattress at the best price to give you the best night's sleep. All the major brands: Serta Perfect Sleeper, Simmons Beauty Rest, Posh and Lavish, Urban Loft Ice, Pure Latex Bliss, I Love My Pillow, Kingsdown, Biscayne Bedding, and many more. US 1 right next to Waves, Mattress Market in Vero Beach, for a good night's sleep and a great deal. Mattress Market.
A.E. Stalls Real Estate and Associates is a hometown family company. Josh and Mandy Stalls, along with their two sons, have deep roots in this community. As a boutique brokerage, they are located steps away from Vero's beachside communities. They have a strong team of realtors, the tools, and experience to guide clients to the closing table. Helping clients feel confident in the buying and selling market is what they do. You can reach them at stallsrealestate.com, Facebook, or 772-800-8305.
The Rhett Palmer broadcast is brought to you by Complete Electric Complete Alarm. Get your generator checked now before the next hurricane strikes. Call the good folks at Complete Electric Complete Alarm. You'll be safe and sound when the next hurricane strikes. Call Complete Electric Complete Alarm.
I know you want to have a beautiful smile. Well, an examination, radiographs, a healthy cleaning would normally be well over $200. Gosh. Right now, for $79, you can call Plains Dental Arts, 231-6004. It's all included for $79. The examination, the radiographs, the healthy cleaning. Okay, call Plains Dental Arts. Make your appointment right now, 772-231-6004. Takes care of gingivitis, takes care of halitosis, gives you a great healthy smile. You get a thorough examination. Plains Dental Arts, just south of the Village Beach Market on A1A. Again, $79 for the examination, radiographs, healthy cleaning, 231-6004. Call now, 772-231-6004.
Hi, this is Vicki with Vicky's Seafood. I deliver to homes in Vero, Fort Pierce, Sebastian, Micco, and Grant. And I'm also at Peterson's Grove every Saturday from 10 to 2:30. So come on out and visit us and check out the beautiful market there. My phone number is 772-473-7883. Again, my phone number is 772-473-7883. I deliver everything from Key West Fisheries chowders to fresh Chilean sea bass to pepper-seared ahi tuna, fresh local beef, you name it, I've got it. And my phone number is 772-473-7883.
They say you sleep a third of your life. So why is shopping for a mattress so important? There's a mattress store on every corner. But when you visit the Mattress Market Store, you'll find Steve and his family, in business for 35 years, waiting to help you find the best mattress at the best price to give you the best night's sleep. All the major brands: Serta Perfect Sleeper, Simmons Beauty Rest, Posh and Lavish, Urban Loft Ice, Pure Latex Bliss, I Love My Pillow, Kingsdown, Biscayne Bedding, and many more. US 1 right next to Waves, Mattress Market in Vero Beach. For a good night's sleep and a great deal. Mattress Market.
The Minutemen answered the call during the American Revolution. Now, Minuteman Press answers the call with custom print and design services designed to promote your business like nobody's business. They lead the charge, but never
I tried to switch it over. It's not
great
working.
design, print, and promotional material. Minuteman Press in Vero Beach. And now
How do
in
you
Port
stop
St.
the
Lucie.
ads?
Ready to answer the call. Google Minuteman Press or visit pslminutemanpress.com.
Hello, residents.
Now you stopped it.
Now I have to go back to this.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
Oh my God.
No problem. No problem. Just focus. This will be a fun section.
Beyond the ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. Who won Pakistan's election? Elections were held last week in Pakistan after months of delay. Now, you lived in Pakistan also.
Yes, I did.
How long?
About a year and a half.
Wow. Former U.S. diplomat David Hunter's in here. Also keeping the peace is Gary Osler. And
That's good.
He's heading back tonight to
Live Free or Die, New Hampshire.
Live Free or Die, New Hampshire. And who won Pakistan's election? Elections were held last week in Pakistan after months of delay. One of the candidates, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, had just been sentenced to 30 years in prison prior to the election. His party logo also was banned from appearing on the ballot. But he is claiming now he won the election. Is that possible? Is he still in jail?
Yeah, he's still in jail.
Oh my. Well, that's what they're trying to do with Trump here. I mean, everybody's just
All right.
arresting their competitive.
Well,
their competition.
This is a real hairball, let's call it that way, tangled up mess. That would be the
whole world is now, isn't
yeah.
it?
Well, Pakistan, of course, is I've said before, it's a country of over 200 million people, and it has nuclear weapons, and it has essentially a government that has totally gone into disarray. They had the elections. One of the guys that is running for office, his name is Nawaz Sharif. He was exiled under criminal prosecution and living in Saudi Arabia, and then I think living in London for a while. And he's been out of the country, and he just came back in just before the elections. Okay. And the government that was in charge was a caretaker government because there had been a collapse of the government prior to this election taking place. So there was nobody in charge. And Imran Khan comes into the office running as for the prime minister's job, having just been sentenced to jail for 30 years under what I would call trumped up charges. And I'm going to discuss that a little bit later.
And the word Trump, there it comes again.
Yeah, well, in this case, it's trumped up. Maybe that's where it came from. Anyway, the Imran Khan is actually sitting in a jail, but he won and his party was not allowed to run. They basically banned his party, which is a cricket bat. He used to be a cricketer, a player of
So if
cricket.
they had the Constitution there, like we have it here, he would have been able to run.
I'm not sure if he would have been able to run here. He was removed. His party's logo, the cricket bat, was removed from the ballots. And most of the people in Pakistan are illiterate, so they can't read. And therefore, they vote based on pictures of the logo of the party that they want to choose. So without that cricket bat, they don't know where to put their thumbprint. And they vote by putting a thumbprint on.
Oh.
That's a way of confirming who it is. And, that's fairly good idea.
Hold on, the same thing happened here, though. Colorado. I mean, Trump hasn't have been convicted. They said because somebody convicted of espionage or whatever it was.
That's being debated by the Supreme Court.
No, but listen.
Yeah.
He has not been convicted. That's no debate here. How can somebody actually do it? The audacity.
Colorado did not say that he was convicted. They did not say.
They said he was guilty of it. And who are they to say he's guilty
Okay,
of it?
all right.
I thought you were innocent in the United States till proven guilty.
Okay, I don't know.
No, but really.
Okay.
Don't you not accept this?
I don't want to get into the American judicial system. That is not my specialty. You need to get a lawyer in here who knows American judicial system. In this case, what you're asking is, was Trump convicted by this election board in Colorado for their disqualifying him from being on the campaign for having committed treason?
That's like saying I can't be on the air anymore because I'm a skinhead. I'm not a skinhead.
Well, that's part of the problem with this particular article of the Constitution is that it does not spell out in detail what constitutes an act of insurrection. There is a law in the Constitution that says if you commit insurrection, then you can't run for office.
But it hasn't been
But it
proven.
does not define what is insurrection and who makes that decision. Does a voter board make the decision? Oh, you're an insurrectionist, therefore you can't run. Who decides?
So you could say right now that Rhett Palmer's an insurrectionist, and then I am.
You can't run. Yeah, and then you can't run for office. Yeah, and anyway, but that's domestic. Let's go back to Pakistan because
where you lived for a year and a half.
Yes, and it's an important country. It borders with 800 miles on Iran. It also has a contested issue with India, and it was once part of India before it broke apart. And
now, see, I come from the feminine point of view. I don't know why, but I'm touching my feminine side. I want to know what you thought about the Pakistani people. Are they dirty? Are they clean? Are they angry? Are they really welcoming? And were you treated with great hospitality?
Yeah, okay. I will stray off on that once I get finished with this part about the elections. Then I'll give you a little background.
Like if you were to say that Trump didn't get elected, it was because people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care, and he came off as not caring. Would you agree to that?
I'm not going to describe Trump in any way.
Let him finish his point here.
I don't want to describe Trump in any way. At this point, the issue is with Imran Khan is he's in jail, and yet it appears he won the election.
Crazy.
Now, I told you that they took his
even though they didn't have the logo.
They took his cricket bat off the ballot, but he ended up having a bunch of independents run as proxies for him, and they all won. And they are this is a parliamentary system. So if you have enough people that are your backers.
So what are they going to do?
Well, this is the problem. See, Khan and some of his top party leaders are in jail. They're all in jail, and yet, so the government of
is
the day
now a dictatorship.
No, Rhett. The government is in chaos. They don't know what to do. The government.
Well, they let the guy who's elected out of jail.
Well, but they're not saying. See, he didn't get elected. He has not been chosen yet because you have to have a what's called a majority to run the parliament. And
they just got a majority.
He won the majority of votes, but that's not the majority of parliament. Okay, so it's kind of like
then why have an election?
No, Rhett. What happens in cases when you have less than a majority? It's called I think a plurality or something like that.
But you said he did.
Rhett, he won less than what is necessary to cross the border for an absolute majority. Okay, so he
didn't mention that.
So he needs a coalition partner. He needs to bring in somebody else to join him. Now there are three main parties.
That's what they do in England, right?
Yeah, that's right. So you don't have and in many cases, if your coalition partner bails out on you, then you suddenly have your government collapse.
Okay, so you have a coalition partner. Then that means you share authority with your coalition partner?
Think about Israel. Israel has Netanyahu is the Likud party, but Likud party itself doesn't have enough people to run the government. And therefore, he had to bring in these far-right extremists.
And what power do they have?
They have the power to bring up the numbers so that he has a majority. That's what they have. If they left his party, he would not have a majority, and therefore...
What happens then?
The government collapses. There's no government without a majority. You have to have a majority to have a government.
So what happens then?
Well, then you have new elections. That's what would happen in the case of Israel. And that's what will probably happen at some point. they are going to do. I don't want to get
There's
off
got
on
to be a
Israel.
lot of people ticked off of Netanyahu right now, right?
There are a lot of people that are ticked off, and therefore, but the problem is that if he starts abiding by the people that are ticked off, then the hard right, the extreme right,
they'll get ticked off.
They'll get ticked off, and they'll abandon him, and then he'll fall out of government. So he's caught between a devil and a
rock and a hard place.
Yeah, a devil in the deep blue sea, whatever. Well, anyway, so Imran Khan has a majority of the votes, even though he's sitting in jail. But he's now trying to form a government, and at the same time, the person who brought in less votes, Nawaz Sharif, he's trying to form a government. And the third major party, besides those two, the Khan is the PTI party. So the PTI and Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League, those two are both trying to form a party, and they're turning to the third party. This is Mrs. Bhutto's party, the PPP, and her grandson, Zardari, is the head of that party. He has a small number of votes. I think he got 50 seats. So they're turning to him and saying, "Wouldn't you like to join us?" And what the last thing I've heard is that Zardari of the PPP has said, "I'm not going to vote for anybody. We're just getting out of this." So he's sort of not. He could support Imran Khan. He could support this other guy, Nawaz Sharif, but he's not supporting anybody because he knows he's going to get tarred and feathered whichever way he goes with forming an alliance with these guys. So there's no government. That's the problem. And Imran Khan is sitting in jail, but he might actually have been wrongfully convicted, at least of one of the charges. One of the charges he was convicted of was mishandling classified information.
Oh, does that sound familiar? Oh my God, that sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Now,
that's what they're trying to do to Trump.
Now, actually, what Imran Khan did is he took a classified document from sent by the ambassador of Pakistan in Washington, D.C.
Well, both of ours guys did that. Biden did too, but Biden turned him over real quick.
Yeah, he did.
Trump didn't turn him over real quick?
Yeah, he did. He not just he didn't turn him over, he hid him. He obstructed the attempt to recover the documents. He hid the documents. That's what Trump did.
What do they want with these old documents anyway?
Okay, the point is Trump obstructed the investigation of justice in recovering those documents. Biden did not. And as far as the classification of the documents, the ones that Trump had were much more classified than the ones that Biden had. Okay, those are the part. And from Biden's point of view, allegedly, Biden did not even know that those documents were in his garage. Yeah. They were brought over there by some of his staff that put them there, and he did not know about them. That's at least the argument. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that. That's a totally different topic. But Trump did know about his documents. He was showing them to people down in Mar-a-Lago. Right. Okay, so there's a big difference if you want to talk about handling a classified document. So anyway, Imran Khan has the same kind of situation where he's been convicted of holding classified documents, but he was waving them at a rally and saying, "This document I'm waving proves that the United States was involved in trying to have me removed from office." Now, that's a pretty sensational document. And it turns out that there really was such a document, and it really did say that.
Wow.
So the United States was apparently involved in trying to depose Imran Khan. Now, Imran Khan was not a friend of the United States. He didn't like the United States. He was called Taliban Khan. He was friends with the Taliban. So we might have had reasons why we wanted him out of office.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, if the U.S. was involved in having him removed from office, then that involves the United States. You know, you talk about the U.S. We are powerful, but we are not entitled to interfere in other people's elections, just as they're not entitled to interfere in our elections. So that's something that might need to be investigated at some point further down the line. At this point, it's still way down on the bottom of the radar. Nobody's
Do you remember when
attention.
the Democrats were accusing Trump of being involved with that Russia had something to do with the first election, and then when they found out there was no apology made. Why?
Well,
Isn't anybody going to apologize on someone's behalf?
Well, I don't want to talk about Trump and Russia at this point. We've already covered enough on Trump. I think we need to get to the last topic because we're running out of time.
Okay, last oh, yeah, okay. Well, let's see. Is Biden's relationship with Netanyahu becoming strained? Well, he has to have that perception anyway. I mean, he's running for office, right? As Israel continues its fourth month of Gaza war, Biden has privately expressed more and more discomfort with Bibi's actions. Is a rift developing between? Well, how would we know? That's totally conjecture. I mean, isn't that a silly question?
No.
You know what? I'm running for president, even though you're my best friend. I don't like him because he's going to steal my votes. So I'll tell you, I don't like him. Hey, we're going to meet for dinner on Friday, right? Okay. I don't like him. I don't want,
Okay.
I mean, come on.
When
it's
you
all
say
BS.
when you say how do
They're
we
all
know?
deceivers, all of them.
Okay. All right. That's your opinion. Okay. Let me give you the facts, and then maybe you
And
can.
now for the facts.
Yeah. After you've had Rhett's opinion, what I call the.
And now for the facts. Facts.
The blowhard view.
What?
Yeah. This is a very serious question. We're dealing with a relationship between two heads of state.
But it's total conjecture.
No, it's not total conjecture. That's why I'm telling you the facts. The facts will prove that it's not total conjecture.
Okay.
All right?
I'm waiting.
You're waiting. Good. I want you to wait with bated breath.
I am.
Okay. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz, this is an Israeli newspaper, they published an article a couple of days ago. And they said in that article, the U.S. president said the Israeli premier is giving him hell and is an obstacle to the ceasefire. An NBC report said that that Biden had called Netanyahu a bad effing guy. A bad effing guy. And
where do they get this from?
And this is what Haaretz is reporting about the relationship between Biden and Trump. I mean, Biden and Netanyahu. He also, NBC report said Biden called Netanyahu an a-hole. Okay? Now, these are quoted in the Israeli press. They are also the same story that has appeared in the Jerusalem Post on February 5th and in the New York Post on February 4th. Now, those are all relatively well established newspapers with reputations to uphold, and they are reporting that this is what Biden is saying about Netanyahu. Okay? Now, this is at the same time that the Biden administration is trying to do what I call repair patchwork with its Democratic base over the anger that the Democrats have about Netanyahu's slaughtering Palestinian civilians, including women and children. We've all seen that. The numbers are up there, over 10,000 children and over 20,000 women. So Netanyahu, I'm sorry, so the Deputy National Security Advisor to Biden, Mr. Finner, he traveled to Michigan. Well, why Michigan? It turns out Michigan has over 300,000 Arab and Muslim citizens.
Yeah, and they're trying to take over.
No.
Sharia law.
No, wait a minute. No, they're not. The point is they're American citizens, Rhett. Therefore, they can vote. And they are angry at Biden green-lighting Netanyahu's slaughter of these people. I mean, keep in mind, Netanyahu has been accused by the International Court of Justice of genocide. They've been accused of suspected genocide.
Well, did they equally come out and protest the fact that they came over and killed all those women and children?
Okay. The killing 1,000 people in a raid in a kibbutz area along the border of Gaza is not genocide. I don't care what the Israelis are saying. That's not genocide. The Israelis are not threatened with the extermination of...
They are threatened.
They're not threatened with the extermination, not realistically threatened. You may have some people in Hamas that would like to have every...
What about all the protests in the USA? It says from the river to the sea or whatever it is.
Yeah, as I've said before, the river to the sea argument is not for eradication of Jews, and it is not even for eradication of Israelis, which are people living
It's
in
the
Israel.
eradication of Israel.
It's the eradication of Israel and returning it to the Palestinians who lived there before 1947. That's what it's about. That's the argument of river to the sea. And the Israelis, hardliners, they're currently advocating from the river to the sea for the Jews.
The opposite.
For the Jews, saying, I don't want any Palestinian on this land. I want them all off the land, and I want to take it all for Jewish.
Well, the Jews actually were there ahead of everybody 2,000
all
years
right,
ago,
we've
right?
been over that. That's like a recorded loop. Anybody
yeah, but why do you dismiss that?
I don't dismiss it. We talked about Abraham and the fact that he came to the Canaan when he was a refugee fleeing from Ur and from Haran, and he ended up being taken in nicely by the Hittites and by the Canaanites and allowed to live there and allowed to drill some wells. And that's how the Jews, not the Jews, the pre-Jews, because Abraham was not a Jew. Abraham was long before Israel ever was around and before the Jews were ever around. So, but that line of people was not there originally and did not have entitlement to that. What the only argument for entitlement is that they conquered the Canaan when Moses brought Moses brought the refugees back from Egypt, and they then fought a war and took over Jericho and all those areas, and that's how they established themselves as a invading country. Okay, now that doesn't mean it was theirs. That means that they came and invaded and took it over. Okay, now there are some people that say that that's the whole justification for any country. That hey, as long as you're strong, take it over. To hell with the guy if he's weak.
Well, then we should return America to the American Indians.
That would be, and to some extent we have. We've let them set up casinos, and they're now milking the American public.
Yeah, but you say it flippantly. We've ruined those people because they know at the age of 21 they're going to get $300,000 or $400,000, and what they do is they wait for that money, and then they blow that money, and then they all become alcoholics.
Well, I don't
Not
know.
all,
I'm not going to get off on the subject of
it's terrifying
of American Indians.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the Biden administration is very concerned now with Netanyahu having waged this war in such a rough and callous manner. You might call it a massacre. That the American public has turned against him. Over 50% of Democrats believe that what Israel is doing is genocide. Over 50%.
It's excessive.
It's excessive. Biden himself said it's over the top. Well, that's kind of a polite way. So behind the scenes, what you're seeing is a very big friction now between the U.S. president and the Israeli president. They are not happy with each other. Actually, the Biden administration, this national security deputy advisor, he said the Biden administration does not have confidence in the current government of Israel to conduct meaningful steps for a two-state solution. That's what he said publicly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and actually, Biden's not wrong. Netanyahu has pretty much said, and his far right has definitely said, we're not going to have a two-state solution.
Exactly.
No two-state solution, which means no state for Palestine.
Right.
And if you don't have a state for Palestine, you have two options. One is have the Palestinians live in your state as an apartheid repressed people with limited rights and privileges, a by-your-leave kind of experience, or force them out, what's called a second Nakba, force them out of the whole, the West Bank too. Keep in mind, the West Bank has now got 750,000 Israeli settlers. And as this war has been going on, the settlers have been taking more and more land and attacking more and more of the Palestinians who live in the West Bank. In fact, just today, there was a destruction of a home of a Palestinian living in East Jerusalem who happened to be an advocate or protesting against expanding Israeli settlements in the West Bank. And it so happens that they decided that his permit for his home was invalid, and they tore down his home. Now, if he hadn't been protesting for stop settlements in the West Bank, they probably wouldn't have torn down his home. This was a reprisal for his political activity trying to prevent expanding settlements. Okay? So this is the kind of stuff that's going on. Next week, I'm going to talk about what actually the Palestinians on the ground have been experiencing over the last number of years living in occupied territories. This is a horror story. And part of the horror story, I showed you this book that my brother sent me called Son of Hamas. Son of Hamas. He's the actual son of one of the top original founders of Hamas.
Yeah. And he's anti-Hamas.
At this point, he's anti-Hamas because he became a double agent working for Shin Bet. He was in prison. He was imprisoned by the Israelis, horribly tortured, tied up to a chair for weeks at a time. For weeks at a time, tied up to a chair, a plastic chair, in an awkward, stressed position. And eventually he agreed to work for the Israelis. He said at the time he would work for the Israelis only because he really wanted to just deceive them and then kill them. That's what he said. But later on, he ended up actually working for the Israelis and doing their bidding. Okay? He's a troubled young man, let me put it that way. But he describes the conditions that the Israelis treated the Palestinians, and that part is totally credible. Mm-hmm. And if you see the conditions that they were put under by Israelis under occupation, you see why they are fighting back. They are not some benevolent dictatorship. This was a cruel and repressive set of occupiers, and that's why they're resisting. So I will be glad to discuss that part. And it's ironic that my brother, who is thinking that this is persuading me that this is Israel is a benevolent dictatorship. It's not. The proof is right there in the writings of this man who became a double agent working for the Israelis. His account of his own upbringing proves the very point that Israel was a cruel and repressive overlord over these people that they had.
Yeah, you say that, but what about all the people? Was it 2002? When was it that all these people that had land, the Jews, had
2005.
Had land there. They had farms, and they were weeping and crying. They were angry with their government because they had to give up their property. Hell, I'm not going to go and give up my. They gave it to not the Palestinians. These guys.
Hamas.
Hamas, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. They gave it to the Gazan. Anyway, when you say they're weeping and they're crying, I look at the people that are with children that have had their hands and legs blown off, and I see them weeping and crying. I mean, weeping and crying because you had land.
Now you're changing subject.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about weeping and crying. You brought up weeping and crying.
That's not the subject.
No, the reality
is.
It
should not be left at flippantly.
I'm not.
These people, they were given a chance. Hamas and that whole group, they sat there going, "Feed me."
Actually, no, that's wrong.
Feed me.
Rhett, you've got your interpretation and understanding is extremely limited, and that is depressing to me because you are showing either a naivete or you are ignoring facts and trying to.
It's naivete.
Okay, it's naivete. Yeah. When you say "feed me," the reality is Israel at the time of the Hamas arising in the Gaza Strip, they imposed a total embargo on all things coming into.
After Hamas was elected.
After Hamas became the
those
leaders.
big mouths said they wanted to destroy Israel. You're going to keep giving money to the people of Israel? I mean, how stupid.
Actually, what the big mouths said, they did not say they want to destroy Israel. What they said is we don't admit the legitimacy of the Israeli state. There's a difference. Okay. When they say, I don't...
Why couldn't Hamas make it... I mean, not Hamas. We keep calling it Hamas. What are those people called there? Pakistanis?
Palestinians.
Why didn't they make it on their own? Why didn't they start businesses? Why didn't
because they were quarantined like a prison. They weren't allowed to get water and electricity, and food doesn't come in except through Israel's permission.
They've been getting water all these years.
I know, by Israel's permission. And you know where a lot of that water goes? You know, there's actually you have the Jordan River, and the Jordan River and what's called the Golan Heights has the major water supply.
Is Jordan brackish or is it clean fresh water?
Fresh water, and actually the Sea of Galilee, I believe, is fresh water.
Yeah, because I was baptized in the Sea of Galilee.
The Sea of Galilee is fresh water. In fact, it's the largest freshwater supply in so-called Israel territory. But what happened was
You know what's scary about getting old? I cannot remember one thing from that day. I know it took place. Nothing. No
Yeah.
memory whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the Sea of Galilee is fresh water and it has fish.
Yeah.
You know, we know
I
that.
did go to the other sea too, the salty sea,
The Dead Sea.
and I floated in that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the point about water is that once the Israelis took over that area of the Sea of Galilee and the Golan Heights, they started diverting the water supply away from Gaza and from the West Bank, and diverting it so that the Israelis had lots of water for their irrigation of their agriculture in turning the desert into a blooming blossom. What they did is they deprived the Palestinians of water and diverted it for their own use. And that's how they created these farms that grow flowers and fruit to supply to Europe, okay, by stealing from the Palestinians so that they don't get the water that they need. So they suddenly have a shortage of water, and then the Israelis supply them, you know, oh, I'm doing a nice thing by letting you have some of your water back. Yeah. So anyway, all I'm going to say here is about this, besides...
There's two sides to every story, and I wish we knew both really.
Yes. Yeah. At the same time that Biden is saying that, and his leaders are saying that we don't have confidence in Israel to go through a two-state solution, Biden's also providing weapons and billions of dollars of aid, and even asking for more aid, as you just saw with the Congress being proposed, to supply to Israel.
Haven't we been sending money to Hamas too?
No, we haven't been sending money to Hamas.
Not since this conflict.
Yeah, there was money going through the United Nations, and also money going through the Palestinian Authority.
People are drunk with money, though.
No, they're not.
Washington, D.C. is drunk with money.
Okay, anyway.
You don't think they are?
Anyway, the latest thing...
Okay, I'm a hardworking American boy, right?
Let's just finish this, okay?
This is important.
No, this is
You're a hardworking American boy. Let's do a tangent. Okay,
and
even Gary says
taxes.
that. Even Gary says that's a
taking
tangent.
my taxes and giving them to these bad guys.
That's a tangent. Okay, right now, as we're speaking, Netanyahu is posed to launch a major military assault on the last refuge of the Palestinians of Gaza. They are now in a place called Rafah. And Rafah is at the very southern end of the Gaza Strip. And there are over 1.5 million people packed into an area of less than 25 square miles. Okay?
I think it's, 4 or 6 times the normal population that existed before the conflict?
Anyway, the Gaza Strip itself was one of the most highly populated areas in the world before the war started. And now they have packed like sardines into this area, which is called Rafah, which is the last city that has not been invaded and destroyed. And all of the rest of Gaza, the buildings are totally destroyed. 80% of the buildings are destroyed. And there's no electricity or any means of supporting life, so to speak. So the Biden administration is saying, well, look, Benjamin, if you want to go into Rafah with your military to go chasing down these 3 or 4 brigades of Hamas fighters that you claim are there, you have to arrange for an evacuation out of the area, out of harm's way of these 1.5 million Palestinian civilians. So, as of what I've heard, the last proposal, the plan for getting the Gazans out of harm's way, Netanyahu is now claiming that I have a plan. The plan is to be funded by the United States and Gulf Arab states. They will be the ones to provide the evacuation of all of these Palestinians. Or at least they're provided to pay for the evacuation. Maybe to provide for setting up the camps.
Right.
So you ask, where's our money going, Rhett? Well, there's our money going. Benjamin Netanyahu is destroying all of these people, chasing them around like cattle. And now he's saying, oh, you want an evacuation? Okay, fine. You pay for it. Now, does that upset you?
Yeah.
It should upset you. It should upset you. I mean, this is what I call being... and at the same time, he wants more of our money for his arms and bombs and to pay for replacement parts for our F-35 fighters that we have sold to him or given to him. Okay? So we are complicit in this slaughter. That's what's going on. And the Biden administration's finally realized that. And he, of course, is going to be likely punished at the polls for this atrocity that Benjamin is dragging him into.
Well, okay. Well, let's get back to domestic stuff. What do you think about this report that said that Biden wasn't all there mentally? Do you think he's all there?
I think that Biden conducts himself pretty well for a guy of his age, and that isn't to say that.
Is he capable of?
I say
being
he's more capable than 99% of Americans, which is to say that most people in America.
He's seasoned in politics.
He's seasoned, and he knows. Keep in mind, as a president of a country, how much you have to know, how many details you have to know.
How do they do it?
Yeah, and therefore, if you do mix up, he messed up and called the president of Egypt, Sisi.
So what? Trump did that recently with somebody else too.
Trump called
yeah, it doesn't matter. Nikki
Haley. He confused her with Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. So it happens.
You know, and
I do stuff too.
Yeah, and
right, Ralph.
Yeah. To be frank.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're frank today.
Yeah.
Who's he?
Who's he? All right. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of the story. We do have to watch this situation, which is building in Palestine right now, or in Gaza, because it could be a slaughter. I hope it isn't. I hope that that sane minds can come forward. I personally hope that they can develop a ceasefire of some kind, at least a pause of several months of ceasefire, and allow some of this to settle down. But Netanyahu's on the warpath, and he knows that if he doesn't stay on the warpath, he's going to be out of office. So he has no incentive to stop the war. In fact, I'm very concerned that he may try to push this up into Lebanon and start a new war in Lebanon.
Why do that?
Well, because from his point of view, Hezbollah is as much of a threat as Hamas is. Hezbollah is also.
Well, I thought we have a lot of those countrymen that are our friends, right? Lebanese. We have many Lebanese here in the United States.
Yes, and the point is, though,
a doctor comes on my show from up north, a vein guy.
The
He's
point
Lebanese.
The point is that Hezbollah are friends with Hamas, and they are sympathetic, just like the Houthis are friends with Hamas. And you've got other people around the Middle East that are friends that don't like what's going on in Gaza and with Israel. And so Israel is never going to be safe if it thinks the only way it's going to be safe is to occupy and destroy potential enemies around the area. You know, the missiles get longer range, so you're going to have to go all the way into Syria. You're going to have to maybe attack Egypt. You're going to have to attack all over the region to feel safe. You know, that's the problem with Israel's defense strategy. You can't be in that region and make enemies of everybody around. Okay?
Well, they already are their enemies, aren't they?
Well, this is the problem. You know, if
they're not active enemies.
Yeah. If I were, let's put it this way: if I were the president of the world, and I wanted to make this into a more orderly system, I would take all the Israelis. There are only 7 million of them. We have that many living in the United States today.
You would take all of them and do what?
I would take all of them out of Israel, and I would give them a safe home in Texas.
Why should they have to leave their land?
It's not their land, and everybody in that neighborhood hates them. Okay, and therefore they're never going to be safe there. They're going to always be under attack. They're going to be living under constant bomb shelter alerts. How would you like to live?
You're a funny guy.
No. Let me mention this, because Texas wants independence anyway. There are lots of people in Texas that want independence. So what I would do is I would remove the current status of Texas. I would bring Israelis in there. The Israelis are very good at defending borders. They know how to defend borders.
Yeah, right.
Israel, they're not leaving, believe me. It's God's land.
Okay.
He gave it to them.
All right.
It's
Anyway,
gonna stay.
that's kind
Zionism!
of that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, but you know, if you were the emperor or president of the world, that would be a solution. They don't need to be in that area. You could turn the Temple Mount and the whole of the Al-Aqsa and all that into a theme park of some kind.
Did they have to go in with this war to get Hamas? Let's say Hamas is their enemy. Just like I was so disappointed in our CIA with finding Osama bin Laden. I mean, I thought we were much better connected. Couldn't they have surreptitiously gone and poisoned all of Hamas, get them out of there? Did they have to blow up all these buildings? And
No,
all
they
these
couldn't.
cities?
No,
Actually-
it's not realistic.
Actually, one of the untold stories about Hamas is that Netanyahu supported Hamas. Netanyahu supported Hamas
Why?
because he wanted to weaken the PLO. His idea was by supporting this religious group, Hamas, secretly.
How did he support them?
He sent money through Qatar secretly. It's well documented. This is not. I'm not making this up. I wish I was, but I'm not. It's well documented that Netanyahu supported Hamas as a way to keep the Palestinians divided, so they had no one leader. They had rival gangs, so to speak, instead of one gang. And he figured that if they were divided, then there'd be less chance of them forming
How
a
are they
Palestinian
so
state.
creative with deceit? All these people.
Yeah. Who?
Netanyahu and Biden and whoever it is, all these politicians.
Well, to be honest, Netanyahu is in a class of his own. He's up there with Putin, in terms of being a Machiavellian. Machiavellian, yeah. If you want to look up Machiavellian.
That's a book, wasn't it in a book?
He wrote a book. He advised princes in the Middle Ages, Italian princes.
Bad guy.
No, actually brilliant guy. But his advice for princes was very ruthless. In the Middle Ages in Italy, things were pretty brutal. So
you had to be.
Well, I'm not saying you had to be, but they were.
Well, there was a kid in here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He said while in prison, he had to kill somebody in order to establish that you don't mess with him.
I don't want to go there. I personally think
Is that what these people have to do?
I don't want to go there. Yeah.
But in the big picture, how in the world is Israel going to live in that area with so many countries that are their enemies?
And they're making more all the time. That's
Yeah.
the problem. The killing of these Gazans, keep in mind, I said this before, General Petraeus, who was a brilliant a counterinsurgency expert. Petraeus in Afghanistan. His counterinsurgency explained that if you kill innocent civilians, for every innocent civilian you kill, you're going to create 10 new insurgents. So Israel has now killed at least 25,000. 28,000. That means they're going to create 280,000 new insurgents by the definition of our own U.S. general, who's an expert on insurgency.
Well, let's say Israel did commit genocide and totally wiped out those people. Then there would be no one for retribution, or would there?
It's impossible. They will never wipe out all of them, and even and the ones that do survive will be motivated that much stronger and will enlist others into their cause. So the cause will not disappear. So the idea of genocide just doesn't work.
What do you think about Stalin saying necessary idiots?
Useful idiots. A useful idiot is different than genocide. I mean, but I can see that you're postulating in your mind that, wouldn't it be nice if we could just vaporize all the enemies? Okay. The reality is Israel is creating new enemies all the time. That's what's happening, and therefore you're going to have to keep vaporizing.
Aside from all this, not investing myself emotionally.
Yeah.
Is I don't know how anybody stays alive. I don't understand why Trump is still alive. I don't understand why Netanyahu's alive. I don't understand who were you just talking about? What's the guy from Russia? Putin. How is he still alive?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're protected. They're protected. You're saying why aren't they assassinated? Is that what you're referring
to? Can you imagine every day getting up? You can't even. I'm going to make you a soft-boiled egg. I don't want your soft-boiled egg, Rhett, because for like his former chef, Putin's former chef, turned on him.
Well, they're protected.
And now he got blown up in a private jet.
They have systems to protect them.
That was Prigozhin. He got blown up by Putin.
You know what?
He was blown up by Putin, by the way. It wasn't that he just got blown up.
We don't know that, but
if
why did he stop midway when he was coming up to? Why didn't he go forward?
Yeah, I know. Lukashenko called him.
He could have given a brand new.
He was misled. Lukashenko was the president of Belarus, and he called Prigozhin and apparently talked him out of continuing. He said,
"Why?
I don't know, but he did promise. Oh, you can come. Putin has told me you can come and live in Belarus."
Why would he believe that?
Well, again, why would he believe anything Putin says? That's my point earlier in the show. I said anything Putin says is a lie.
Well, the Bible says all men are liars.
Well, not all the time. Some are accomplished and some aren't.
But Rhett, I have a question for you. It feels a little bit like you don't have a lot of compassion for the Palestinians.
Oh, I don't want to see any. If I was right there, I mean, just like I'd be down at the border, I'd let all the Mexicans in. I love Mexican people, and the people from Venezuela. I'd let everybody in, but I'm not. I don't have authority. I wouldn't know. I was not born for management. I told Noah that he should be managing this place, not me. I don't have any talent with management, so I don't know how to. I'm befuddled. I love people. No, I don't want anybody. I'm horrified. I don't even watch the news now. These little children and moms and dads, and I'm horrified with what they also did to Israel. I don't know everybody. I just don't get. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I could demand that there was peace with everybody, I would.
Right. Well.
So yes, I do have compassion.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I also think weren't you in the car listening? No, that was David. I said we have the power right here in the United States. We have the intellectual power in Vero Beach, Florida. 30,000 children and adults total died of starvation in the world last night.
Yeah.
If there was a profit in feeding people, they'd all be fed. Why does it take profit? Why can't it take knowing a dignified way? We have the intellect to do
Well,
this.
speaking of starvation, what Israel is doing right now in Gaza is attempting to starve the Palestinian people. They have blockaded food and water, and people now are so desperate they don't have one meal a day. In many cases, this has been documented, absolutely documented. They are down to one meal a day or less.
Even during German. I mean, I know the Germans shot a lot of prisoners of war.
Yeah.
So we shot them in retribution. We did too, but isn't there some sort of a rule that if you have it, you have to feed them 3 times a day, and they have to have something to sleep on.
That's of course prisoners of war, but these are not prisoners of war.
Well, essentially,
these people are civilians who are
but
refugees.
Israel has done itself a real disservice by not somehow.
They have actually stated the intentions of genocide. Mr. Gallant, who's the Minister of Defense, he actually said that these people are human animals. That's what he said. And one of the arguments that this National Security Advisor in Michigan, he was facing was, why hasn't the United States condemned strongly enough Israel for taking that position?
Now, for a man to say that, though,
he should be condemned for saying that.
Hold on. You're running your emotions rule.
No, I'm not.
Maybe those people are animals. I don't know. What have they done? Who was the guy that was running Iraq?
Rhett,
he was an animal.
Rhett.
The guy and his 2 sons, remember?
But Rhett, these are like ordinary people living in Pakistan, in Palestine. They didn't choose Hamas. They just want to. No, these people just want to live a life.
They chose Hamas. They voted them in.
They didn't choose to be born in that location. You're making it sound like every single person in Palestine is a horrible person that should be destroyed.
I'm not saying that. I said, why would somebody call them animals? And then there's another side of the story. What's going on that we don't know?
Well, the reality is that now the Biden administration is saying, we realize we should have come out stronger against statements like that by Israeli leaders. If an Israeli leader calls somebody a human animal.
Well, I watched a documentary. I believe it to be true.
Yeah.
And I saw these little kids. This is before all this took place. And it's in Palestine.
Yeah.
Not Palestine, in Gaza. And the little boy said, we can only go out 3 miles to go fishing. And they said, here's my friend. He's in a wheelchair because some Israeli soldier just shot him flippantly when he was playing in a rock pile one day.
Right.
So what's going on with this hatred?
Well, and actually, this is as of today.
If you were a decent human being,
this is as of today. I mentioned the starvation of Palestinians. My own recommendation, if I were President Biden, is I would order American C-5 cargo planes, U.S. military planes, to fly into the Gaza Strip and drop food supplies, and say to the Israelis, if you dare to touch my planes as they fly over, we will blow every one of your planes out of the sky. That's what I would say. But Biden doesn't have that kind of guts.
Trump does, if Trump was on their
side. Trump would drop bombs on the Gazans. He would not be.
You don't know.
Well, why don't we ask Trump? Why doesn't Trump say anything about this situation? Have you heard anything from him?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. He's been pretty mum.
You think that I watch Fox News? I don't watch
Well,
any news.
why doesn't Trump say what he would do in Gaza?
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Let's hear from Donald Trump. He's already talked about trashing NATO. Let's hear what he has to say about Gaza.
We know he's pro-Israel because he made Jerusalem the capital.
Yeah, I know. I know. But he is pro-Israel, but so is Biden. And of course, Biden is not doing enough. But in this situation, as we're reaching this, as I speak today, Nasser Hospital, which is one of the major hospitals, Israelis blew up the north entrance to Nasser Hospital and is telling people that they must leave the hospital. And as they're leaving, this is documented by reporters, Israeli snipers are killing some of the people as they're leaving the hospital.
Well, I also heard that Hamas is shooting people. This is coming from the Palestinians. They said, we're being shot by Hamas if we leave the town because they're considered, they want us there for protection.
Well, anyway, you've got 1.5 million.
No, those are moms
I know those
and dads who are Palestinians.
That's what you're hearing.
They're being shot.
That's what you're
it was
hearing
on the news.
On which news?
NBC.
Okay.
NBC.
Okay. If you can provide me with the documented from your Google search or something on that, I'll be glad to look into it. At the moment, I can say that 1.5 million, most of them refugees, have all fled to the Rafah area, and they were not shot by Hamas. They were all fleeing, and they fled successfully. So,
well, I don't know. Have we done any good today?
I think we've done some good. I think that we've opened some people's eyes and minds a little bit. And I do appreciate you hearing what I call an alternative viewpoint.
Yeah.
From your point of view, it's an alternative viewpoint.
I think we always should.
I think Gary would probably be far more aligned with what I'm saying and see that as being reality.
Let's take a judgment. Now, you two know me, and you asked me, do I not care about the Palestinians? Do you think, now you've known me for how many years now? And so have you.
Yeah.
Do you think I would be compassionate if somebody knocked on my door who was hungry?
Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this?
Because you asked me.
This is not even close to the topic that we've been on all day. I don't even want to talk about this.
You said, "Don't you care about the Palestinian people?"
Yeah, but the point is, the Palestinian people.
Why would you have to ask that?
The Palestinians are not knocking on your door. You have, if you were a policy person, and that's what we're really talking about. We're talking about telling our congressmen and congresswomen what they should do. We elected them. When I say we elected them, we should think of it as we hired them.
Yeah.
That's the right way to think. When we say elected, that's the wrong idea. We hired them to do a job.
I think people should be able to come here. We're a country of immigrants, but legally.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
I think there's some pretty bad characters coming over that border. And what I don't understand is, why won't Biden say, why is he doing that? Why hasn't this stopped? Even when I got video, I can show you. When Clinton was running, he wants to keep the border solid.
Yeah.
Obama, I mean, it goes way back. Everybody wanted to keep the border.
It's been a problem for a long, long time, and it needs a complete, complex solution.
Yeah, there's
no easy answer.
There's no easy answer. I think this was one of the things Mr. Mayorkas, who's now been impeached a second time by the Congress.
He
was successfully last night. He was successfully impeached. Yeah. So that means by the Congress.
What does that mean?
Well, it means nothing because
Clinton was impeached.
It
he
means
didn't go to jail.
It means nothing because the Senate has to also agree to that, and they're going to say no, get out of here. So that's it.
Well, we're going to say no. We got to get out of here. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks.
Rhett.
Okay. Like usually, we covered a lot.
Yeah, you covered a lot. That's good.
And with Rhett.
All right.
Yeah, with Rhett too. That's part of the fun of it.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.